We are a couple weeks away from Sixers training camp. I know we're all itching to get there to actually talk about things going on with the basketball team. But in the meantime, a wild report comes out today. Ben Simmons not only turned down a contract offer from an Eastern Conference contender, but he actually tried to come back to the Sixers and they had maybe a conversation with him. We'll talk about all this madness and more coming up right here on Philly Take with RB. Well, welcome into the show. Question of the day. And for once, it's not going to be a single answer or a yes or no or whatever. It's a fill in the blank. If Ben Simmons came back to the Philadelphia 76ers, I would blank. I want you to fill in that blank down below. I'm going to give you my answer, but before we get into all of it, a shout out to our sponsor of Philly Take with RB for the upcoming season. It is Sleeper. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard about Sleeper, right? Fantasy sports app, real money gaming app. They are the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, but I'm really starting to get into these picks and I like it, man. It's so cool. You can choose anywhere from 2 up to 8 of your favorite players, not even in the same sport. You could go across teams, across sports, and you're just entering a contest and trying to pick an over or under. Right now, for example, with Monday Night Football, they have a player promo going on. JJ McCarthy, over under 0.5 passing yards. I mean, that is literally a given. Then on top of that, we could put, I don't know, Justin Jefferson over 0.5 anytime touchdowns. I think he'll get in the end zone. And then how about DeAndre Swift, the former Eagle, over 16.5 receiving yards, couple catches out of the backfield. Boom. I really love Sleeper, man. You got to check them out. If you use the promo code PhillyTake, you can get a 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper. Don't sleep. Speaking of sleep, nobody is sleeping on the Ben Simmons situation anymore. And here's what I mean by that. It's out in the open. It has been for a while. It's over. To answer my own question, if Ben Simmons came back to the Philadelphia 76ers, I would go on strike. I would have to. Because at that point, you are so unserious that there is no basketball team anymore. There is no common sense. There is no knowledge. Like, you're just messing around. You're trolling at that point. Let's talk about what happened, though. This came out a few days ago. Ben Simmons, for the second time in a few years, has had his own agent quit on him and say, I am not representing you anymore. Bernie Lee has cut ties with Ben Simmons. And in addition to that, today we get a new report because over the last couple weeks, there's been some whispers, right? The Knicks and I think maybe the Celtics and a couple other teams have reached out to Ben Simmons and tried to sign him at a minimum. And as we've seen with the restricted free agent market and all these other guys that are still available, there's just not a lot of money to go around, right? A lot of these guys will go unsigned. Maybe there'll be pickups throughout the season or in the buyout market. I don't know. But Ben Simmons, according to Mark Stein, actually got a contract from the New York Knicks. And as much as I hate the Knicks, they are going to be an Eastern Conference contender this year. And they're coming off a conference finals appearance. And he rejected it. Quote, the Knicks, according to league sources, said that they offered a 1-year deal to Ben Simmons and the former All-Star passed it up. New York is limited to minimum contract offers because they have all these max guys on their team. And Simmons entered the summer hopeful of securing a contract above the minimum after he split last season between the Nets and the Clippers. Keep in mind, there's also been whispers the last few days that Ben Simmons is considering walking away from the game. And I originally, when Ben Simmons came into the NBA, thought that he was going to be a 10-time All-Star, a Hall of Famer. Anybody with that type of skill set and those traits is expected to at least be formidable, right? Maybe he doesn't end up being an All-Star or a Hall of Famer, but he had all of these traits and these special qualities and the tangibles, but the guy has changed the landscape for honestly other players as well. Contracts, when Ben went through that whole sit-out thing for a year and he took the Sixers to court and got money, he changed everything. We've never seen an athlete until Ben Simmons with the lack of drive that he has. And I once predicted a few years ago, after the trade happened to Brooklyn and everybody was getting on me and the other Sixers creators, I said Ben Simmons will be out of the league by 30. Well, he is 29 years old, and he has a chance to go play on a contender and is saying no because they cannot offer him more than the minimum, and he will not take the minimum. Do you know how crazy that is for a guy who's been hurt the last several years, has not played quality basketball, won't shoot a jump shot, and does not have the defensive player of the year qualities anymore, is slower, injury prone, all that and more? You know what I think happened here? I think Ben Simmons doesn't want to go back to New York. I think he'd play in Utah. I think he'd play in Sacramento. I think he'd play in one of those small market teams where he just shows up, gets a paycheck, and, you know, gets to drop 6, 5, and 4, and then go sit on the bench. He doesn't want to go play in the bright lights. He doesn't want to play at Madison Square Garden because he knows the second he goes out there and doesn't shoot a jump shot, the fans are coming for his neck. This has been one of the craziest stories that I've ever seen, and it just continues. And I think we have finally hit the point where Ben Simmons will walk away from the game. Also, Jake Fisher reports that there were quote-unquote overtures between Ben Simmons and the 76ers after he was bought out by the Brooklyn Nets. The Sixers had interest in Simmons then, and Joel Embiid and him quote-unquote repaired any fracturing between them. Listen, man, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like this will finally be the final time that we talk about Ben Simmons. But it is over. Ben Simmons took the Sixers to court. The fan base cannot stand him. He is not a good fit. He doesn't play games. He doesn't do anything that the team needs. And he's just not a good player. So when we think about all this, you know, let's take into account common sense, right? The reporters can use big words and they can use their inside sources. It's not happening. It never has been a possibility, and it's not realistic. It is not happening. Get it out of your mind. Ben Simmons is not going to be playing professional basketball because he doesn't have the drive to do it, and he doesn't want to do it, and he made all his money, and that's it. That's it. He was done. He was mentally checked out after that. And people ask all the time, why are you still mad at Ben Simmons? Honestly, I don't care that much anymore, but what really still irks me is that the Sixers could have been a championship team, and they could have had a ring, and all of this other crap that is going on since would not be here if it was just for this man working on his game, trying to improve, not saying he had to make a huge leap, but just trying to get better. And that is why hearing reports like this, that the Sixers may have had a conversation with Ben Simmons, really frustrates me because, again, I mean, you could barely sell tickets right now. The fans weren't even going to the games last year because of how piss poor it was. Honestly, some of our streams might have had more fans in there than in the actual building during the games. And you're telling me that you think it would be a good idea to bring back the guy who sat out for a year and screwed the team over? Are we a serious franchise? Should people even think about the 76ers right now? Meanwhile, the other stars are injured and we have no update. I mean, this is just crazy, man. At some point, you have to turn the page and just get better. And maybe this is just beginning of September reporting while we try to bridge the gap until training camp. But they've been talking about Ben Simmons in this situation for a couple weeks now, and it's just annoying. It's just annoying. So hopefully this will be the final time that we ever talk about Ben Simmons on this channel, and he's not coming to the 76ers. Last but not least, something that is coming to the 76ers this year is the black jerseys, and the Sixers page tweeted it out today with the specific game schedule. So if you do want to go to the games where they rock these jerseys, here it is. They are celebrating the 25th anniversary of almost winning, I guess, by going to the finals and losing. And they have, let's see, 3 games in November. They have 4 games in December, 2 games in January, 1 in February, 3 in March, and 1 in April, where they will be rocking the black alternate jerseys. So a total of 14 games. Honestly, feels like a lot, and I'm happy about that. Maybe this will be the one thing that can actually juice people up and get them excited to go to a game and, you know, see the alternate black court that we showed a few weeks ago. Looks really cool. I don't know why we're celebrating as like an anniversary. I think people just like the jersey, but nonetheless, that is where we're at. That's what the Sixers jersey is going to look like. If we go back here to this picture, I think it looks awesome. I think it'll be really cool. I just wish the vibes were a little bit better right now. And I wish we would actually see these guys out here. I know this is a jersey swap and people are already commenting at me on Twitter like, well, we're not going to see this because Joel Embiid and Paul George won't play those games and this and that. Listen, man, all of the people I've talked to in the last month, couple of weeks, like in real life, going out talking to people, they're so focused on the Eagles. And obviously, you know, you have a Super Bowl contending team in the city. The Phillies are getting ready for the playoffs. The Sixers feel like an afterthought right now. And things have to change. Things have to change. They need to really make a statement. They know that. They better come out 150% effort with no distractions and no extra storylines or whatever. They better be ready to go. Otherwise, I think the franchise, even as a business, could be in trouble this year. Give me your thoughts down below. Would you ever entertain a Ben Simmons reunion? And if they did bring him back, what would you do? Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you on the next one. Peace.